Alright guys, I'm back. Sorry. So I left off the last video saying I had to figure some stuff out for the throwout bearing slash slave cylinder. What is it called? It's a hydraulic release bearing. Okay? It's your throwout bearing, whatever, for your clutch. Okay, so as you can see, I've got it installed. Okay, so you guys with the tremec T56s from the F-body Camaros and stuff like that, basically a factory 6-speed transmission, you don't really have to worry about this step. I do, because I bought a basically universal T56 tremec magnum that's based, you know, for Dodge, Chrysler, GM. It's for all these makes. It's a universal transmission. That can go in all these stuff, and they send you everything to make it work for your particular application. In my case, these little shims here, you see the shims right there behind the throwout bearing? Those shims are required on this because the distance, this is easier to show rather than explain. Clutch is installed, bell housing is installed, so they want you to measure from this is your mounting surface for your transmission. So they want you to measure from this to your fingers on your pressure plate. So you take that measurement. In my case, from the fingers to the mounting surface of the transmission is 2 1/4 of an inch, 2 1/4 inches, or 2 1/4 inches. All right, so basically what they want you to do is they want you, this is your pilot bearing riding surface. They want you to match that distance on this. They word it a little bit different and makes it a little complicated, but they're kind of technical with it. But you can see here the way they're measuring with the bell housing installed from the fingers to the mounting surface of the transmission, and then on the transmission side from the bearing ride surface to the flange of the transmission, basically. So this goes to that and it's flush. So they want you, this measurement from there to here, they want that to match this measurement, which is the air gap for your slave cylinder slash hydraulic release bearing, whatever you want to call it. But this is all installed now. I've got the correct amount of shims here to space this out enough to where when I put this in, the release bearing is not going to be under too much pressure or not enough pressure. It should bolt, when I bolt this transmission in, it should be this part right here, the mating surface of the hydraulic release bearing should be perfectly flush with the clutch pressure plate fingers without being under pressure. So basically it's going to touch but not be under pressure to where it's not partially engaging or disengaging the clutch per se. So a little weird when it comes to measurements. I get a little dyslexic when I start seeing a bunch of measure this, measure that, to make sure this is going to clear that. So this was a little new to me. I'm sure you old time guys, you don't really have that issue. You've been doing this for years and you'll understand it. This is my first time doing this. And I've never had to do it because obviously I've always just taken out, you know, factory transmissions and put factory transmissions back in. And this hasn't really been necessary. So something a little new for me. And I mean, hey, I'm glad to learn it. But yeah, it's something that I've never done before. So I'm glad I read the instructions and put it, you know, I'm putting in the time to make sure this is all correct. But basically, this was measurement A, which is the fingers to the mounting surface of the transmission. It was 2 1/4. And then B, which is your mounting flange of your transmission to the surface of the hydraulic release bearing, equaled this, okay? And so and what you do is you subtract B from A, and that's gonna tell you how much air gap you have. And in my case, it was 0.8125, okay? Their goal for air gap is between 0.1 and 0.2. That's what they want the number to be between. So basically what I had to do was I subtracted the 1.4375 from the 2.25, and I got the 8.125. So what I had to do was subtract the thickness of the shim, and you see it right here, GM, subtract 0.090. So I had to subtract that 7 times to get a number that was between 0.1 and 0.2, and in this case they use 0.145. But basically what that does is it ends up being the same distance right here. It equals this distance. That's what you have to get, essentially. So we got her done. We got that all lined out. This is all not for me. Slide the billet bearing, bolt the tapped holes. Yeah, you install the silver bearing stud retainer. The black ones are only for, what does it say? Some applications may require 1 to 2 bearing retainer spacers. This is especially true on Chrysler applications. And then let's see, the top loader addendum for, that's different, bearing retainer, third locker. Black studs included in kit are for 5-speed only, so we don't have to worry about that. And this is all master cylinder for their master cylinder kits. I have a factory master cylinder, so I'm not going to need any of that. Clutch is torqued on. Hydraulic release bearing is installed, so I can go ahead and basically route that where it needs to go, which is up there, and then my new clutch line is going to come through here, and then that'll be good to go. But before I can do that, obviously I still have some modifications to do. This is my pilot hole for where my shifter was located, so now what I've got to do is I've actually got to let the truck down and start taking apart the interior to figure out where that is going to line up. In order to take it out, I have to take the seats out, which is a pain in the ass, I know. I'm going to see if I can get away with maybe taking some stuff out of the console and taking it apart without having to take the seats out right now, because it's on the lift and it's kind of a pain in the ass, and I really don't want to take it off the lift and push back, push forward, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to get cracking on that and keep you guys updated, figure out if I'm going to have to order that Sicky Manufacturing remote mount shifter. This is the time that I'm going to figure that out now. Once I get the truck down and figure out where this look. I used a coat hanger and just kind of poked it through the hole there, so I didn't drill a big hole at first, to get an idea of where it would be. If I feel like it's too far forward, then I could just, you know, put some silicone or something in that hole and not have a hole in my floor where I don't need one. All right, well, I'll get on that and I'll get back with y'all and let you know what I figure out. Thanks.